No, I didn't want to do that, you... What is up, everybody? Welcome back to JAMSports podcast, where I royally screwed up. Thanks. I really do want to die. It signed me out of my thing. Alright, you know what? I'll delete it later. It signed me out. I'll delete it later. What's up?
Welcome back.
We're going to be looking at the NFL. We're going to be looking at F1 and NASCAR, baseball, soccer, basically the Prem, nowhere else, except for maybe the MLS. Alright, let's get into this. Let's have a little recap of before I was an idiot.
Lord.
AFC East, we have the Bills at best in the division. I'm going to do records because, record predictions because I want to die. I have them at 14-3, and I have them, 14-3. Alright.
I doubt that they go 14-3. I think that they lose a couple games in division, which you don't.
I don't.
That's because divisional games are weird, and Josh Allen likes to spontaneously combust.
This is
halfway
true.
Through every season.
This is true.
So, but I still have them winning the division.
The modern day Russell Wilson. Really good the first half of the year. Sucks ass the second half.
Allen picks it up. It's just like 3 games. There's just a 3-game streak where he'll suck. And also, that's a Seahawks thing. That's not a Russ thing. Geno Smith did the same thing this year.
Hold on, I need to get in this chat. Give me a second. Dalton says, how does he feel like knowing the Saints are going to beat the 40... Dalton...
Real. Niners first-round exit.
Absolutely not. Dude, I hope we beat the Eagles. I hope we get 17 now.
But for real, rip to your wife, the Lego ruler.
Is that...
No, that's the Lego ruler. You should go watch. He's got some sweet Legos content.
Wait. Whoa.
Anyway.
Dog, what's going on?
That's a later problem. Who do you have going second?
Oh, it's Legos. It's actually Legos.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, sweet ass Lego content.
Second, I have the Dolphins. I'm going 13-4. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, wait, who do you have second? Jack?
This might kill you.
You have the Jets.
I have the New England Patriots going second.
That's a lie. No, you don't. You don't. Show me the list. Send me a picture of the list.
I will in a second. Right now, my phone might be playing a baseball game, but I will do it later. I promise you, the piece of paper in front of me has a 2 over.
That is really horrible. May would love you. I'm telling you, it's not happening. Not with anything they have.
That they're gonna win 12 plus games? No. Do they have good coaching now and a slightly less dysfunctional organization than maybe some of the others in their division? Yes.
No.
What do you mean no?
I mean, their coach is stable, but nothing else in their team is stable. They just had. You know what? Bring back Matt Patricia. That's all I gotta say.
Mac Jones,
run it back
in a real offense. I have faith in him. They also turn it on against their division, which I think would be enough to sneak into second.
Wait, hold up. Didn't they have a real offense his rookie year with McDaniels?
And he was good as a rookie. I've been on the Mac Jones bandwagon.
No, I don't believe that. I don't.
Yeah,
I know you're on the bandwagon. I just don't know if it's the right bandwagon to be on.
Okay, well, it's my opinion, and
I know it's your
opinion.
We're both
going to be very wrong.
We both are. They're going to finish like third in the division, barely, or something like that. But
well, they did pretty well last year, all things considered. They have both improved a lot as a team. Don't forget that they had Christian Gonzalez fall to them. They have a real offense and a real offensive coordinator now, right? And they have a knack for winning games that they really shouldn't be in, right?
Okay.
Like, I know May always talks about how they just turn it on versus the Jets every year. And those, if they win both Jets games, that could be enough to bump them from 4th to 2nd in this division. But I will say I do have the Jets at 3rd in the division, which we agree on. Look at that. I'm going to let you just die based on the chat, so I'll keep monologuing. The Jets, on paper, they should be much, much better than last year, right? The defense is still elite. The offense improved greatly by not having league worst quarterback play. But just, Hard Knocks is fun content, but Aaron Rodgers is clearly, I hope that he proves me wrong, because Jets fans deserve something nice happening once in a while, but it smells like something's going to go wrong in that clubhouse. And I just don't have faith in them over a full season, because something always goes wrong for the Jets. And I think until they prove me wrong, I'm going to put them at 3rd because they're too talented not to be, but I don't have faith in them to make it out of like the dogfight that is 2nd through 4th in this division.
Interesting.
But you tell me, why do you have presumably the Jets next?
I have the Jets at 3. I have them at 8 and 9 because I feel like something's gonna go wrong, utterly wrong, and they're just gonna not make it to 500. I love you, Robert Saleh. I think you're a great defensive coordinator and a great coach. But no, I don't want you to. I can't have you doing good. You should come back to the Niners and be our defensive coordinator. I'd
Part of the problem
that.
too is Rodgers is basically his own coach, right?
Yeah.
And especially now that it's a team that's traded for him. Like, you saw what happened in the later Rodgers years in Green Bay.
Oh yeah,
he's being handed all of that instantly in New York.
Yeah.
Especially with a relatively inexperienced coach.
Yeah.
That it just feels like something's brewing, and I can't have faith in them.
I can't send Gog into the chat, but just know I'm trying to send Gog into the chat.
Gog. All right. So clearly you have the Patriots in last. Why is that?
Well, I have the Patriots last because I don't think the Patriots are a good organization. I think they are way past their prime. They don't have a good quarterback. And, I think
that defense... mad you guys drafted the wrong quarterback?
No, hold up. Calm yourself. I think they have a great defense, but I don't think the offense is anywhere near league ready. I don't think they have a number 1 receiver, which they need. And basically everyone on the roster are number 3 guys. I don't think anyone would be associated with number 2.
Okay. Looking at your record predictions, I can tell that having a number 1 receiver is clearly not a requirement for other teams to do well.
I mean, it kind of is.
That may or may not be a spoiler, but...
It kind of is.
Oh boy.
Well, it is.
No.
It is, yeah.
No.
The committee is better. Are you talking about the team I think you're talking about?
I'm talking about multiple teams, actually.
The team I'm talking about right now, the one that last year just didn't have receivers at all, that team, it's Danny J. Like, I don't know what you want from me with that one. Anyway, I've been going 4 and 13. I was actually
talking about a different team, but,
The Saints?
No. But we'll get to
it.
What
other team doesn't... other team...
Every other... Juju Smith-Schuster.
Dog, come on. Absolutely not.
Filming TikToks at halftime?
If he films a TikTok against my team, I think I'm gonna, fight him.
So I have the Dolphins in last, and that feels blasphemous.
That really does. If Tua is healthy...
My thing with the Dolphins is their defense is all over the place. Right?
Okay.
And you hope it improves, and it should. Right? Okay. They're very talented, but they did, get Jalen Ramsey and then lose him and replace him with Eli Apple, which you know.
Right.
But the offense, like, I hope that Tua is 100%. And, reports are that he's good. It's just hard to come back from that much, like, head trauma. And their plan behind Tua is non-existent still. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm putting my, like, chips on Tua not making it through the full season.
Okay.
And because of that, I don't have them finishing well. Because you saw what happened when Skylar Thompson played, right? You saw that Jets-Dolphins season finale. It was maybe the worst football game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I did not slander Juju.
I think you should have a chat with your roommates. They're gonna dox you.
Slander Juju.
They're gonna dox you. No, but
Alex to respect Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, but that's not enough. This amount is still doxing. Dalton never change.
All right, AFC West time.
AFC West. I don't think realistically, I don't think there should be any question to like the order that I have, unless there's two teams I think you could switch. There's two teams I think you could switch, which is the bottom two.
Never mind. I disagree heavily, but that's okay.
Really?
Well, sort of.
I think you're gonna switch. Okay, so I have the Chiefs at number 1.
Your whole order and tell me why.
Chiefs, the best team, one of the best teams in the league. They have the best quarterback.
They're the reigning champion.
Shut up. The best quarterback, best tight end. Okay, defense. But their offense is good. That Dalton is horrendous. I have the Chargers next because the Chargers with Herbert will probably still be good. Just not on the Chiefs level. I have the Raiders at 3rd because I feel like they're going to be better than the Broncos, and then I have the Broncos at 4th, and I have the Raiders above them because I believe the Raiders will own the tiebreaker.
All right,
but I don't think the Raiders or Broncos touch the Chargers or Chiefs.
I have the Chiefs at 1.
Okay,
no surprise.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Broncos at 2. Now hear me out.
Okay.
Nathaniel Hackett was the rare head coach that was actually bad enough to lose games. That was a team that looked way, way better from the day he was fired through the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And not only did they bring in a head coach that's like, okay, right? If you're going from like one of the worst we've seen in years to okay, that's a huge improvement. But they brought in Sean Payton, who, as far as offenses go, like Russell Wilson looked like Russell Wilson should at the end of last season. Even though Judy's hurt for the first like 2 weeks, they still have a pretty good receiving core. They have a very talented defense, right? Like Surtain is still very good.
Okay.
And their defense was good last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I have faith in Sean Payton to get enough out of that offense for them to get second in this division. And part of that's because the Chargers are always cursed, just a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I do believe in the Broncos this season.
Okay. 3rd, I'm assuming you have the Chargers, and then last you have the Raiders.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry,
hoping
Jimmy, but
Jimmy
the
Jesus
are hopeless.
Jimmy Jesus needs to bring if Jimmy Jesus wins the Raiders their Super Bowl before Derek Carr brought them a Super Bowl, I'm gonna fucking laugh. I really do. I really hope that happens, but I don't think it will.
They have Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
And Devontae Adams.
Yep.
And who else exactly?
Max Crosby.
Well, yeah. But like...
do they still have, Malcolm... was it Malcolm Smith? I don't remember. Hold on. Let me check something. They have Brian Hoyer. They got Patriots reject Jacoby. They have Hunter Renfrow, who's like not bad.
Well, yeah, but he also was hurt, and he's also like, if you look up slot receiver in the dictionary, it's just that funny little short white guy.
When the fuck did they get Marcus Peters?
They signed him.
Shit.
Okay, I guess they do have Colton Miller. You're right. You're right. I got to put some respect on the Raiders. They're winning the AFC.
Put some respect on Daniel Carlson's name.
Oh, true. What a
Wait, didn't they take this
unbelievably good
motherfucker from the
kicker.
Eagles? I swear to God, no, they didn't. Never mind. I lied.
AFC North.
AFC
Because
North.
I have opinions.
I have kind of fucked up a lot of things in the AFC North.
Okay.
And I'm doing this because I'm putting good juju into the earth so it happens.
Juju?
Which means bad juju.
You were
Wait.
just saying Juju bad earlier.
Whoa. Juju is bad,
You're
but
saying
not...
good Juju?
Juju Smith-Schuster is bad, but the juju...
Disagree.
The juju is fire.
Disagree.
Okay.
Okay. Alright.
Alright. I have the Steelers at first. I have the Bengals second, the Ravens third, and the Browns fourth. I have the Browns going 0-17.
What the fuck? That's why I didn't do record predictions.
No. I have the Browns going 0-17. I fuck up everything. I fuck up everything.
Okay.
You know what? Let me say the Browns going winless. I don't fuck it. The Browns are going winless.
Okay. All right. I am ashamed to say this.
Okay.
It hurts me inside to say this.
Yep.
I might get strangled by saying this.
Okay.
But I have the Bengals at 1.
I'd just like to let you know, Jack is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so he is slandering his own team. Anyway, continue.
I have the Bengals at 1. I have the Ravens at 2. I have the Steelers at 3. And I have the Browns in a relatively distant 4th.
Okay.
That is not me not believing in the Steelers this year. I think that they will be in contention for a wild card spot. The problem is, if you've got a healthy Ravens team, and you've got the Bengals team that we've seen the last couple of years, I just don't think the Steelers team is better than those teams yet. Especially now that the Ravens have a legitimate offensive core.
Are you saying that Kenny Pickett isn't going to bring the Steelers glory next season?
Oh, they're still winning the Super Bowl. They're just going to do it from the from the third wild card.
Okay, interesting.
No, I didn't do full-on playoff predictions.
I didn't either. I'm just doing Super Bowl predictions after this. All right.
Just because those last wild card spots, that's just more room for me to be more wrong. Which I'm
going to be honest. I'll tell you how it is. Steelers are going 14-3. They're going to lose to the Niners, the Ravens, and the Bengals, and that is that. Anyway.
Wrong.
What?
They're losing to the Niners, and that's it. 16-1.
16-1. The AFC South. So, this.
Okay. Go for it.
Again, I went for it.
Go for it.
It might not happen. It probably isn't going to happen.
Go for it.
But I'm trying to break records here. I have the Jaguars in first.
Okay.
Because of a tiebreaker. And you might be thinking, hey, who's in second? The Titans? No. The Titans are not in second. The Colts? Absolutely not. They're going to go winless. But I do have the Texans in second. Because why the fuck not? I like D'Amico. D'Amico likes me. So I root for D'Amico. And then I have the Titans at third and the Colts in fourth. So...
Well...
That's,
do you want the good news or the bad news?
I want the good news.
The good news is I actually have the exact same finishing order as you. The bad news is I still think you're fucking insane.
With the record prediction?
So the Jaguars are just the only good team in this division.
Yeah,
right?
I think the Texans will just fuck around. I don't think
there is any universe in which the Jaguars win in a tiebreaker. I do think that with the Titans having pretty much imploded at this point, right?
Yeah.
Even though, there's still a lot of promise there. It's just not looking too hot.
Yep.
And the Colts are approaching dumpster fire territory. Although, like, extreme youth movement, boom or bust, Anthony Richardson could turn into, like, a fucking cyborg and lead them to the playoffs. I don't know. But I'm not betting on that, right? The Texans are not super talented. I just think they're better than the other two dumpster fires in that division.
Okay.
Enough to get second, but probably still have a losing record comfortably.
Okay. Interesting. I think that my prediction is great.
I also think that CJ Stroud is the better of the two rookies.
Yeah. I mean, that's mostly why I put them at second, is because of CJ Stroud.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
NFC East. That's our AFC. Now on to the NFC. NFC East. I have the Eagles in first. I have the Giants in second. I have the Cowboys in third. And I have the Commies not winning a game. So.
Oh my.
A great way to start new ownership, baby. Let's go.
Oh my. Okay.
It's going to be great. Yeah.
I have the Eagles in first. I have the Cowboys in second. I have the Giants in third.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Commanders in fourth.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's boring. I know that it's been so long since we've had like repeat standings in the NFC East, right? Like we've gone so long without a repeat winner of that division.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is the Giants got a lot better this year. It's a hard matchup on paper, particularly with the Eagles, because the Eagles are constructed, they're like as close to a super team as you get in football.
Okay.
And where they're strongest is exactly the best way for you to attack the Giants team as constructed with talent and coaching.
I feel like there's another team that also has a lot of talent. And coaching.
Okay, we're not there yet.
We're almost.
So, and then with the Cowboys, the Giants are definitely better equipped to match up with the Cowboys this year. And both of the games last year were actually decently close, especially given the circumstances. But Jerry World is a strange place. The Cowboys are freakishly good in the regular season because they sold their soul for that.
And then they shitting the bed versus the Niners in the playoffs.
Or anyone, really.
Well, more recently, the Niners.
Okay, sure. That McCarthy was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
The past 2 years, they've royally fucked up versus the Niners. So,
yeah.
Round 3?
Although in saying that, you're kind of more dissing the Niners than complimenting them. But I think that the Cowboys finish with a better record than the Giants. Do I think that they're going to be as far apart talent-wise and results-wise as they have been? No, I think the Giants will be closer to in that fight instead of a comfortable third. But I don't see the Giants leaving the Cowboys yet. And then the Commanders are a very talented team at two positions. They have an amazing interior D-line, and they have a great receiving core.
Didn't their best receiver get hurt? Didn't Terry get hurt?
Are you not a Jahan Dotson enjoyer? Are you not a Curtis Samuel believer?
I'm just saying, didn't Terry get hurt? I'm not saying I'm not an enjoyer, but I'm pretty sure he got hurt.
Well, he got turf toe, right? I didn't think that was season ending.
McLaren update. It was a toe injury.
Yeah, it's like turf toe.
Yeah. Let's see. He's less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
They're saying he'll be ready for the opener. Okay, never mind then. I thought he was injured for longer. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. The receiving core is still good.
Okay. Yeah. The problem is the rest of the team is challenged, and Ron Rivera's and his staff have seemed to get worse every year.
Yep.
And Sam Howell is essentially starting a rookie quarterback. While he looked very good against the Cowboys last year, you know, if I'm a betting man, I'm not betting on Sam Howell being that good for a 17-game season.
You know, I'd like to think that he's the best quarterback coming to last year's draft. Wait, 2 years ago? Wait, no. When did he come out of the draft? Oh, then never mind. He's not the best quarterback in that draft. Fuck no. Sorry, that no. He'd be the third best.
A little surprised you said that.
No. I thought he came out 2 years ago. He'll be the third best quarterback from last year's draft and lead the Commanders to a 20-0 season.
Interesting.
Yep. They're going to finish fourth in the division, but they're going to go 20-0.
Admirable optimism.
Thank you.
All right. Let me give you my NFC West, since you, my good friend, are hilariously biased. Although I don't think we disagree on much.
I don't really think we disagree on much.
I don't think there's a choice other than the Niners to win this division.
I really don't. Yeah. I mean, we might lose.
I think the Seahawks are a pretty clear second.
Yep.
And then I have the Rams, and then the Cardinals.
The only reason why I have the Rams low, like in fourth, is because they don't really. They still have like a couple of good players, but I don't know how long those players will last, considering the injuries. Like, I don't know how long Stafford's going to hold up.
Actively trying to tank.
Well, yeah, but for fucking who? They tanked for Kylan.
Yeah, and now they're done with him because he plays COD instead of learning the playbook or something.
Who the fuck?
Right, like the whole film study clause. Like they are genuinely building their roster to tank. I mean, you know that they got rid of Colt McCoy, so now they're going to either be starting like Josh Dobbs, who they just acquired, or Clayton Tune. Right? Yeah. They traded away like a bunch of guys that had started for them for nothing. They didn't really make additions that were at all like useful. They might be the worst roster in the sport. And the Rams, you at least have the idea that everyone's healthy to go back on. Right? Like, Cup missed the majority of last season.
Matthew Stafford missed the majority of last season. Aaron Donald missed the majority of last season.
Did I get Cup and Stafford's injury timing switched?
I think Stafford got injured at the beginning of the year. I'm pretty sure it was Stafford. And then Cup shortly after, and then Aaron Donald shortly after that. I'm pretty sure it's how it went. I don't actually
But with all of them healthy, regardless of who's around them, that's, those are... Cup and Donald are two of the better players in football. And they always, even though they get a lot of flack because of how they've traded away a lot of draft picks, they've always been a very good drafting front office, right? Like in that year they won the Super Bowl, they had some of the most homegrown players on their roster, or like some of the most snaps by homegrown players.
Don't they know the first?
I don't know.
Why are they tanking if they don't? Oh wait, no. The Cardinals are tanking. Never mind.
Cardinals are tanking.
Do the Cardinals have their first? I think they do.
Yeah, they have two. They have theirs and the Texans.
Well, Texans are winning the division now. All right. Tiebreaker and shit. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, there are reasons to believe in the Rams. The Cardinals are giving you every indication that you should not believe in them in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like
trying to position themselves as this year's Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like is Kyler out for the year, or is he out just for part of the year?
He's guaranteed to be out for at least the first 4 games.
Okay, so if Kyler comes back, I can see my prediction, and they start him, I can see my prediction doing okay.
What has he shown in the last 2 years to make you believe in him as a quarterback now?
He can be good. It's just if he really studies the playbook, and that hasn't happened. But maybe he does, since he'll be off his fucking legs. That probably will make him play more video games. It doesn't matter. I think...
Right.
I don't know. I feel like Kyler can do good.
Alright.
NFC North. I have the Lions. Again, I did wacky and weird shit this time. It probably isn't going to happen, but you know what? I was running some wacky and weird shit. So the Lions winning the division. The Vikings in second, and then I have the Packers and Bears far below everyone else.
I have the Lions winning the division.
Holy
I have
shit.
the Vikings in second, but they're not going to be as good as they were last year.
Okay.
Because they made moves this year that show that they understood that they were lucky last year. Right?
Yeah.
So they improved in some ways. But they already, they got rid of players. They didn't necessarily try to add.
The Lions
although they did add Addison to that receiving core, and Brian Flores is going to be much better than who was it, Donatel? But
wait, Brian Flores?
Yeah, he's the Vikings DC. But they're not as talented as they were last year, and they recognize that last year was lucky for them. But they're still second just because the teams behind them are, the teams behind them. I have the Bears after that, and then the Packers in last.
I have
because
sorry, continue.
Jordan Love, we haven't really seen him.
Yeah.
And the Packers roster is, worse than it was last year. And last year was kind of a rough season for them. Well, the Bears actually have a receiver. They tried to buy most of a defense. There are arguments for the Bears to improve this year, which obviously they'd have to.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they're not playing the Niners week 1, so maybe they won't improve.
But there are reasons to think that the Bears at least won't be worse than the Packers, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Give me
Final
your NFC
division.
South.
I have. Is Dalton the Saints fan? I'm pretty sure he is. He's gonna love this. I have the Saints winning the division, but not with a good record. I have the Panthers in second, the Bucks in third, and the Falcons in fourth.
Yeah, I mean the Saints kind of win this division by default.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's the only thing you can think of is if the Falcons offense suddenly clicks, right? Like if Ritter is enough better than Mariota to make London and Pitts and Bijan Robinson work out, but
yeah. I mean
I don't know, man.
I mean yeah.
I don't see in all honesty don't see the Saints having a future in the playoffs necessarily because they're not really that strong of a roster, but they make it by default. And then I guess at that point, the front office is of the opinion that once you make it, it's a crapshoot, right? Just get in the dance and see what happens, which that's a fine opinion to have. But, you go up against one of the better teams like the Eagles or the Niners on their game, and there's really not a whole lot you can do unless you catch them on a bad day.
Yeah.
But behind them, I have the Buccaneers, which might be surprising, the Falcons, and then the Panthers. So the Buccaneers is because even though they switched out Brady for Baker Mayfield, of all people, they still have a lot of talent, right? Like on offense, they still have Evans and Godwin. They still have...
They got Baker.
Not that good, but a pretty all right defense, talent-wise.
Yeah, Baker.
And in this division, is better than really bad.
They have
right?
Baker.
Yeah, Baker's taking them to the promised land. Woo.
I want Baker to win more games.
In 3. I have the Falcons in 3 again because they just have talent.
Yeah.
Right? Where at some point, I mean, I know that Pitts hasn't done anything, but I feel like he's too talented to keep not doing anything, especially when so much of his lack of production last year was Mariota just missing him and just throwing uncatchable balls when he was wide open. And then I have the Panthers in last because you got rid of DJ Moore. Yeah, you have Bryce Young. He's a rookie. He'll learn. Cool. There is nothing else on that roster. Nothing.
I agree.
They were already bad. They've gotten worse. And they're relying on a rookie QB, which is certainly one way to do things. and I hope that Bryce Young doesn't get like snapped in half like a twig at some point this year.
He probably will.
Yeah, I mean, he's tiny, but
yeah,
I hope for his sake he stays healthy.
Yeah.
All right. Who's winning the Super Bowl? And why is it San Francisco?
You know, I was thinking San Francisco, but realistically, I don't know. Obviously, I'm between like 3 teams.
Pick one.
The Chiefs, the
Stick
Eagles,
to
and the Niners.
I will hold you to it.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say my team because when they inevitably lose, it's going to be you and May shitting on me. Niners. Fuck it.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. I know, but I want to be optimistic for this season.
To them in the Super Bowl.
I want revenge.
You think you're beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
I want revenge. That's all I want. I don't care how it's done. If Patrick Mahomes ends up having to throw a Hail Mary last minute and they don't catch it, I don't care. I really don't care if we win by 1 point. I want revenge for 2019.
Okay.
All right.
There's your prediction.
All right. It's not gonna happen. We're not making the Super. All right. Anyway, what's your prediction, Jack?
You're not gonna believe me.
You're gonna have the Eagles and the Chiefs.
No. When was the last time we had a repeat Super Bowl matchup on both sides?
Dog, I don't fucking know. Why are you asking dumb questions that I don't know the answer to? I don't know.
I actually have the Niners over the Bengals. And it hurts me to say that.
You know what? I think we would beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl. 3rd time's the charm, baby, except they're not going to win this one.
So, I mean, you saw it with the Rams.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where that coaching tree has the ability to beat the Bengals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially when it's the mastermind of that fucking coaching tree. Though we might choke. We might choke mid-game.
The Niners defense would hang in pretty well. They're built the right way to beat that Bengals team.
With Javon Hargrave as well? Sorry, I'm just...
The Bengals are one of the few teams that have shown that they can beat the Chiefs.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And assuming that they make it there, so I'm assuming that the Bills get knocked out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do.
Yep.
And I think we get Niners-Bengals. And at that point, I would take the Niners.
Are you saying we beat the Eagles with Purdy?
Maybe, maybe not.
All right.
I'm not saying that you would have last year.
I'm not saying we would have last year. I'm saying
this year.
I actually do like. I wish I could see what the outcome was, just so I could have closure. Because like, as a Niner fan, I personally have to think we could beat them. But on the other hand, like the Eagles were on a fucking roll that year. Like.
Yeah, and they caught them right where they wanted them even before Purdy got hurt.
Like, we caught them at the end of the season record-wise, but we were never gonna, like, touch them. And I just...
hurts being hurt.
Yeah.
To get there.
Yeah. So I kind of want to see what... But we added Javon Hargrave.
Sure.
We should hopefully have Nick Bosa by then, because he's still in fucking contract dispute. Oh, God. At least we signed Hargraves, Fuck. We need Bosa. I want Bosa now.
The reality is Hargrave doesn't make enough of a difference to change the fact. The subtraction of Hargrave from the Eagles, granted they added Jalen Carter, so it's really neutral there.
Yeah.
And Hargrave being added to the Niners, that doesn't make enough of a difference to act like either team is really substantially different than they were last year.
Yeah.
But the Eagles last year, it helped that they didn't come out of nowhere, but they assembled that team last offseason, right?
Yeah.
There's tape on them now. They've got a new offense and defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a little easier to figure them out because you've seen that personnel work together, and there's some unknowns with the coaching staff that there's definitely a window for them to be beat. Yeah. And even still, they lost games. They lost the Super Bowl. It's not like they're some invincible, unbeatable team.
Yeah.
And then my sleeper pick for the Super Bowl, which might give you an aneurysm, would be the Broncos. Just because Sean Payton, and we were talking before the podcast about the 2000 Giants making the Super Bowl against the Ravens.
Yeah.
Just because Sean Payton pulled something out of his ass and took a team that had no business being there on the back of the offense. And if you look at this Broncos team, there's the potential there. There's not a high chance of it happening, but there's certainly the potential just with that roster for them to go on a tear.
And are you still saying Niners in that situation?
No, that would be my sleeper pick to win it.
Oh, okay. The Niners. Are you saying the Niners would make it? Are you saying the Niners would make it, or would the Eagles make it?
I'm not saying anything either way on that one.
Well, okay.
For shits and giggles, I'll say the Saints make it.
Oh, fuck.
And they lose to Sean Payton in a revenge game.
That'd be fucking hilarious. I'd love that so much. Alright. That's that. Awards. I haven't actually written down my awards, but I know who I would pick. For MVP, I'm picking Mahomes. I mean, you genuinely if you don't. Why do you think he's the best quarterback in the league on the best team in the league?
Wrong.
What do you mean?
Alex, you don't understand. Kenny Pickett is going to throw for 6,000 yards en route to a 20-0 Steelers season, and will be MVP and actually inducted into the Hall of Fame while being an active player because he'll be that good this year. Okay.
Dog, with fucking Doug Dimmadon's bitch ass and your fucking OC, whatever the fuck that dude's name is.
Look, Matthew Canada, LSU
that motherfucker
is going to lead us to the... I can't even finish that sentence.
You know for that to happen, Kenny Pickett's going to, call the plays himself. He's not gonna... He's not listening to Canada.
Every drive that was good last year was Pickett pretending he couldn't hear Canada.
Dude, I want Pickett mic'd up every fucking game just so I can hear what he says.
Canada takes off the training wheels because the offense last year was needlessly simplified. You draft a pro-ready quarterback who played 5 years, and then you put all these handicaps on him and tell him he's not allowed to play quarterback.
Yeah,
which is brain dead, especially when your offense already sucked.
Yeah.
Right, they were basically running a preseason offense all year, and a preseason version of a Matt Canada offense, which is extra bad. But yeah, it's Mahomes. Unless he gets hurt, it's Mahomes.
It's Mahomes. Unless somebody else comes in with the RKO, it's gonna be Mahomes. The dude's he's gonna be the GOAT. He's gonna.
I do have Joe Burrow as the offensive player of the year.
Yeah. Either that or Jalen or, one of the two.
The thing with Jefferson is it's hard to... He's obviously been incredible.
Yeah.
Since coming into the league.
Yeah.
And particularly last year.
Yeah.
It's hard to repeat that, especially when your team has... there was some luck that went into that season for the Vikings. They added Jordan Addison opposite him, right? They will have a full season of TJ Hawkinson. Teams will be paying, the most attention to Jefferson.
Yep.
Which he'll still produce, but I'm not sure he'll produce enough, offensive player of the year numbers.
I think he's going to produce like he did his first 2 years.
Yeah.
Because he's still really fucking good. He's just, I agree with you. He's just not going to put up offensive player of the year numbers. It's either going to be Burrow or it's going to be Jalen Hurts or someone. It's not really that question. Brock Purdy? No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. Alright. Defensive player of the year. Now, if Bosa gets under contract, I would say Bosa.
Bosa's actually being traded to the Saints.
That's just false. I literally got a quote an article. Right, I got an article quoting fucking John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan saying, "We are not trading Bosa under any circumstance. We're going to get this fucking contract settled." Anyway,
so I will put it out there.
If you talk
that's
about
been very famously said about so many players that have been traded in the past.
All right.
Similar situation.
All right.
However,
all right.
I'm not saying that is the case here.
Dog, he's the best.
Just want to say that the words of a GM or coach on a situation like that mean very little in the long
I know,
run.
but he's our best defensive player probably since Patrick Willis. So I really just hope we keep him, and I'm trying to keep optimism here because we need him under contract. But I would say Bosa, but I'm actually gonna say Michael Parsons.
Yeah, I
think he's gonna break out even more than he already has.
I'm gonna do something a little bit crazy, and I'm gonna say TJ Watt.
Again, that's but it's basically up to like 4 players.
Yeah, because it's gonna go to the sack leader.
Yeah,
and at that
but
point, you're picking who you think ends up with the most sacks.
Yeah, I mean, also
Niners added a D lineman.
Yeah,
granted, Hargrave isn't exactly gonna eat up a ton of sacks, but what he might do is, he can steal a few sacks that Bosa creates. By being there.
Yeah,
like. You see that happen a ton. I mean, you saw it happen with the Eagles a ton. Hassan Reddick was one of the best pass rushers in the league. And, if you look at, sacks created, he was up near the top in that. But in actual sacks, someone else would scoop him up from him.
Yep.
It's like in soccer, when you steal the goal. And Watt is just good at getting those sacks.
Like Cristiano Ronaldo in the World Cup.
He already tied the single season sack record, and he got hurt last year. And
Jack, do you know that joke? Did you get it? Because he pretended.
I honestly wasn't listening. I won't lie.
I said Cristiano Ronaldo in the World Cup because he pretended to head a Bruno Fernandes goal, and it wasn't a fuck. He didn't touch it, but he claimed he did, and he filed. Didn't he file a grievance with FIFA? I don't know.
I don't know it in that much detail. I just know he tried it.
I know he tried to fucking steal the goal, and that's basically what it's going to be like.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad thing on the person who steals it, because your goal as a defense is to get the quarterback down as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter who gets the sack as long as he's sacked.
Yeah.
In that sort of situation, right? Because you don't want to let them have that split second to throw the ball away. Yeah. My offensive rookie of the year is going to be CJ Stroud. I feel like when you have starting quarterbacks, it's got to go to one of them.
Yeah.
If they're starting for a full season and they're picked that highly. And looking at the 2 rosters, if nothing else, I think that Stroud is going to have the better year.
Yeah. I mean, he also has, yeah.
Neither team is good, but...
Yeah. No. I mean, you don't know that. The Texans could be good.
Defensive rookie of the year. Give it to me. Or pass.
I'm realistically between 3 people.
Oh,
I'm between 3 people. Jalen Carter.
Okay.
Will Anderson.
Yeah.
Christian Gonzalez.
So, like we were talking about with...
I know corner probably isn't going to win it, but if it is a corner going to win it, it's going to be a corner in the Bill Belichick offense.
That's true.
Just like Stephon Gilmore, I feel like Christian Gonzalez can steal it.
And we did have a receiver and a corner win it last year.
Yep.
But I'm instead going with the Texans sweep and Anderson.
Yep.
I think that Carter's not a bad pick.
Yeah.
But I think that the Eagles are just so deep on the D-line that individual awards for anyone that's part of that D-line is going to be really difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Or that whole front 7, really, although they're thin at inside linebacker now. It's like just Nakobe Dean.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where, Anderson, he may not be the best defensive player, but he's going to put in the stats that they like.
Yep. I agree.
Although you're right that there is a universe in which Gonzalez is basically just prime Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah, I mean it's the Bill Belichick offense. The man's talented enough. Like it's Bill Belichick. Like you will find a way to get him in.
Coach of the year.
Kyle. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan.
I think if the Niners are good, he deserves it.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
of what he's done with quarterbacks consistently.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel like he should have won it last year because of the fucking quarterback situation. I understand why he didn't, but I wanted him to. I feel like, you know, if we do really well this year, I think he'll win it. He has to win one. Like, at this point, like, he just...
My argument last year was the expectations, right?
Yeah.
The Giants had basically the second worst roster in football.
I know. No, I agree with you on this.
And screwing to the playoffs.
I agree with you on this.
It's just different approaches for why someone wins it, right?
Yeah, like my point of view would be like Kyle did it with 3 different quarterbacks, and yours would be he did it with the worst roster. I understand why Dable won it, but like I just feel like,
and even with the 3 different quarterbacks, I mean, you ask anyone going into the year, like even before 3 different quarterbacks, and they'd tell you that in the Shanahan system, the quarterback doesn't really matter that much.
It's the easiest system. Right? Like it's the easiest system to learn in the league. Like it is.
I'd been arguing with you basically since draft day that, you know, Mac Jones would have been a better pick than Trey Lance. Obviously,
I think he would have, but I think I'd prefer Purdy than Mac. Only because
I think that if you had Mac, you would like him a lot more than you do while he's part of the Patriots.
I think I like Purdy a lot, so I think I'm chill with Purdy, but you know.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, Purdy runs the offense well, and that's all you need.
He makes some plays too. Like he's mobile.
I have Dan Campbell winning it only because for them to finally win that division, for them to, you know, make the playoffs, right? He may not be the best head coach out of the bunch, but he is a media darling. And when you think about who's voting for it, a year where they finally make the playoffs and finally have the success that people have been hyping up basically like since his intro press conference or whatever, you know, he's gonna win it eventually with how well loved he is. And then the last award, Comeback Player of the Year, I mean, that's as obvious as it gets. He made the initial 53, so he's locked in for it today.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not deserved. I mean, there's a reason that Alex Smith won it back in the day for his leg injury. There's a reason I was slamming the table for Gates to win it with his identical leg injury last year. And DeMar Hamlin went through worse than that and has come back in a matter of months. Like back to full playing shape and on the initial 53.
Yeah, sorry, I'm typing in our predictions just so we can look back on them later. See if we want to change it or anything. Would you like to talk about some NASCAR?
I don't mind if I do.
All right.
Playoffs are starting this weekend at Darlington. And last weekend, the playoff grid was set. The only spot that was in contention was the 16th and final spot. A lot of drama with that because the way the NASCAR playoffs work, if you don't know, is the top 16 drivers in points make the playoffs, and then the final 10 races of the season are playoffs where they eliminate 4 at a time until you get to the championship race, final 4, and then the highest finisher there wins it. But if you win a race, you're locked into the playoffs regardless of how many points you have. So the top 15 were locked in, and Bubba Wallace was 16th in points, but there are like 20 drivers that if they won, they would have been locked into the playoffs, and Wallace would have been kicked out. And especially at a track like Daytona, where there's a relatively even chance for pretty much anyone to win, that's a lot of drama, which is why they do the schedule that way. And it was a lot of drama for the entire race. You had people running up front that needed to win to get in pretty much all day. You had Ryan Preece actually have one of the scariest crashes I've ever seen, but he ended up getting out of the car and he is okay. I don't want to describe it so much as just point you to watch the video, but he flipped several times. His car was really beat up. It really was another thing where if this was 2 decades ago,
who was this?
You would have thought he was dead. Ryan Preece.
Was this the crash that looked scarily similar to Dale Earnhardt?
Probably.
I think it was. Okay, continue. Sorry.
But he got out of the car, and he's okay, which is good. It's safety in motorsports has come a long way. But as it turned out, Chris Buescher won, and he had already won before, so Wallace ended up making it in on points, despite all of that drama, and the playoff grid is set. So I guess check in a few weeks when we cut down to 12.
Bet.
And on that news, F1 is back, so...
Yeah, buddy, let's go! F1 is indeed back. And, what a banger it had. The first race back, I didn't watch it until, like, I got home from work, and then I watched it when I went to dinner with my parents, but I watched the entire race. I loved the race. It was great. The grid was just it had a lot. There's 2 rain instances, a lot of fucked up strategies, because of the rain. Fernando Alonso almost winning it, then getting obliterated in the final lap. And Pierre Gasly getting a fucking podium over Perez. Though Perez would have got the podium if he didn't get a 5-second penalty. Still, Gasly got a podium, which makes the French podiums, I believe, 1, 1, and 1. I'm pretty sure Leclerc only has 1. So that means Gasly, Ocon, and what's his name? Leclerc all have 1 podium, which is hilarious because it's Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton went from 12th or 13th because he got impeded by Yuki to in qualifying to 20th or something like that, like something crazy, like 20th or 18th or something like that, because of the fucked up strategy, to 6th place. So he did battle back. There was a red flag late in the race with like 6 laps to go, and then Max Verstappen chucked it into the afternoon on the final lap. So, you know, yeah, I would say overall it wasn't a bad race. Danny Rick sadly got injured. Love Danny Rick, and he is injured now. So, looks like Liam Lawson is going to be racing for AlphaTauri. Oh, I did. He literally said, I either hit Piastri or kill Piastri, or I, go into a wall, and I decided to go into a wall. And I'm like, I mean that's fair. I mean, that's fair.
That was 100% on him.
Oh, it was, but he was going to, if he didn't move, he was going to hit Piastri, so.
Well, yeah, but that's because he didn't react or see it in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That still falls on him that he was in that situation.
Yeah, that's true.
He's, obviously a very talented driver, but it's unfortunate to see him do that.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Georg ended up pitting on the final lap and just fell 55 seconds behind everyone after getting into a kerfuffle with Lando Norris.
Fair enough.
And then our American boy Logan Sargent actually, for a decent bit of the weekend, didn't do that bad. He made it to Q3 for the first time, which is like the first time an American made it to Q3 in like over 20 years.
Williams was fast.
The Williams was good.
Albon got points.
And I'm going to be honest, if Sargent didn't chuck it into a wall right after getting into Q3, he might have gotten a higher position. I'm going to be honest. Like, he definitely could have. With the pace that he had during qualifying, he probably could have gotten higher.
I don't think he would have finished higher in the race, but
I don't think he would have. And he made the same mistake. He went over a wall. He went over a barrier, not a barrier. He went over a little like curb. Something in his car fucked up, and he went crashing into a wall again. So he's getting unlucky. I mean, at this point, you can see the potential he has, but he's just getting unlucky. Like, sad. Yeah. All right. That's about it.
Baseball time.
Baseball. The sport with the bat and ball.
As usual, particularly with baseball, because the season is so long,
Yep.
I've picked out one story to talk about for you.
Okay.
Have you heard about what the Angels did?
No, but I just have to say, Javier, you are 100% wrong. Danny Rick is amazing. All right, continue, Jack. Sorry. What?
In an F1 context, Daniel Ricciardo sucks. In an absolute context, he's an amazing driver, but he is certainly below average on the F1 grid. I've said this. Alex, you got to talk about Lando's great race.
Dog, Lando did okay. All right, he kind of should have gotten a penalty for fucking over Georg, but he didn't. So let's just leave it at he was lucky he didn't get a penalty. All right, there we go.
All right.
Yeah, baseball.
So the Angels.
Yeah, what do they do? Shohei?
Sort of. So, at the trade deadline, they were in full buy mode. They decided they weren't going to trade away Shohei. They were going to make a run while they had the best player on planet Earth, and they were going to go for it all. Mm-hmm. It did not go well. And to think that them beating the 2023 Yankees was the catalyst for that made them think that they would make a run. But the waiver deadline is like August 31st, September 1st. So yesterday it was announced that they're waiving like half of their trade deadline acquisitions. So a month ago, they traded a lot of their prospects for like Lucas Giolito, for Randall Grichuk. There's them both.
There's a baseball bit named after, or made after him. Lucas Giolito. Yeah.
Shout out Louis Baseball. Despite giving away stuff for them very recently, they waived them, so now any team will be able to claim them if they want and take on like a prorated salary, which feels like a waste. They also waived 2 relievers, Hunter Renfroe, the baseball version. No, not Hunter Renfroe! And in general are clearly, they've acknowledged that they are done. That this is it, right? They've also shaded Shohei on like to reporters by saying that he and his agent were the reason that he got hurt, pretty much.
Really?
It's rough. Now, it's easy to laugh at them for doing this, which is, again, it was stupid because of how badly it failed. But I feel like at some point you still have to respect the effort. They went for it. They went all in. You know, it's the kind of thing where if they trade Shohei, they're getting shit for it. If they keep Shohei and they do well, it's incredible.
Yep.
If they keep Shohei and they don't do well, they should have traded him. And we're at the keep Shohei, don't do well part of things. What waiving these players does now is it gets them under the salary cap thing, and it lets them call up not the salary cap, the luxury tax, which a little pathetic to try to get under it this late in the season, but that's their goal. And it lets them call up some more kids, which the Angels have. One of the few good things they've done is they've been super aggressive in player development, right? Like they brought up several draft picks from last year's draft before any other team would bring up picks from that draft. Right? Like Zach Neto, Ben Joyce are the 2 notable examples. They already brought up their first round pick from this year's draft, Nolan Shaniel, who's been the leadoff hitter for them and playing first base, which is even for a college hitter, ridiculously early to bring up a draft pick in MLB. And so, you know, they're setting themselves up for the youth movement to continue. They're getting under the luxury tax. It makes sense in the context of this situation, but it's still hilariously awful how they've gotten to the situation they're in.
Yeah.
Right? But also, if you're a fan of a playoff team, suddenly there's a coveted starter in Lucas Giolito, a few good bats in Renfroe and Grichuk, and a few decent bullpen arms in Moore and Lopez. I'm pretty sure. I think it's Ronaldo Lopez, but maybe I'm just making things up. Basically available for nothing, assuming that they get past the teams before you in the claim order. There were a few other waivers that happened. Like I know the Mets waived Carrasco. the Yankees waived Bader and a few others where, because that deadline's coming up, teams are clearing space on their 40-man roster and making it so that they can call up some kids once rosters expand in September. Mm-hmm. And what it also does is it gives all these players a chance to play in the playoffs. So in the case of like the Yankees with Bader, and probably the Angels' thought process on a few of these beyond the luxury tax, is that now they can go to a contender and actually compete, right? Okay. Like if a team picks them up that's in the race, or that's, in the playoffs in general, they actually will have a postseason instead of being stuck on like this floundering Angels or floundering Yankees team.
Yeah.
Which, especially in the case of Bader, just because I'm more familiar with that situation, they're trying to do right by him. Mm-hmm. And not just because they don't want to just cut him and then have him be stuck because he's on an expiring contract. And if they did, then, so be it, because they want to call up the kids. They want to see what they've got. Their seasons they've acknowledged is over.
Yep. Wow. The Yankees have really shit the bed.
Yeah, they it's weird with the Yankees. I could go into it for a while.
Mm-hmm. Wait, they're actually below 500
for now.
I was just joking. I thought.
For why?
Yeah, I just thought I was joking.
Their offense has been like so unbelievably unlucky this year. It's really funny. And Bader, even though he just got waived, is probably the funniest example of that.
Okay.
All year, they've had a ton of barreled outs. Their expected numbers put them as what should be like at least a solidly above average offense instead of like down there in the Royals athletics tier. Mm-hmm. Right? Hits haven't been falling all year. Just every way to quantify luck has the Yankees as very unlucky at the plate all year. Mm-hmm. And when you can't score runs, you can't really win games.
Yep.
Right? And that's how they've ended up at this point. But it's not like their process was bad, right? Mm-hmm. The holes in the team that exist. You're talking about left field, like, they didn't have a real left fielder. For the majority of the season, left field has not been the problem for that team, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
The problem has been regression from guys that weren't necessarily projected to regress. And a lot of that regression being bad luck. Like, Bader has a ton of barreled outs. The team has a ton of barreled outs. They're just they're not finding gaps where other teams do. Hits aren't falling. It's kind of frustrating to watch, but also more frustrating knowing that the right process doesn't always lead to the right results.
Yep.
And that happens. That's sports, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you get your 2021 Giants that have everyone have a career year all at the same time, mm-hmm. which I would think is pretty lucky. Sometimes you've got your like 2019 juiced ball teams that were all very lucky compared to what they should do because the baseballs were juiced, mm-hmm. right? And then sometimes you've got your 23 Yankees who can't buy a hit to save their lives despite objectively like impacting the ball very well.
So let me ask a question here. You know that like 0-40 streak that Foolish Baseball covered or something like that? Is this like that? Not exactly.
I get what you're saying.
But like it on like a similar, like you know what I mean? Like, is it like...
Yeah, I get what you're getting at, and very much so. It's that kind of, like how he talks about when you take out like the strikeouts, like the luck on some of the batted balls.
Yep.
It's a lot like that, but obviously not to that extreme of an extent, right? Like they've had hits, and they've gotten a little luckier as of late, but it's too late to save them now. Mm-hmm. But it's well hit balls finding gloves. It's bad luck with like hot shots right at a guy. It's amazing defensive plays made against them. It's all of the things that he talks about happening to Chris Davis in that video.
Yeah. Okay. Well, at least you guys are better than the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah, doesn't take much.
You guys can beat them in the. They should have like not the playoffs, but they should have like really like teams like the
World Series.
Yeah. The Cleveland Guardians versus the New York Yankees. Cancun World Series.
I think it was last year. It might have been 2 years ago. but I'm pretty sure it was last year. There was like a Yankees account that was posting a Yankees Padres Cancun World Series and just like editing together fake highlights and stuff from it, and it was incredible. I loved it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, tell me about the Prem. What's happened overseas?
Well, Man City are good.
No way.
Yeah, they're good. But I mean, if you told me 2 years ago, minus Arsenal being in the top 5, that Liverpool and Tottenham would be in the top 4, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. They're back in the top 4 after shitting the bed last year. Arsenal's 5th, Liverpool 4th, Tottenham 3rd, West Ham is 2nd, but they're all tied at 7 points, and then Man City has 9. Chelsea is currently sitting in 10th. They've only won 1 game. Newcastle, after having such a good season last year, have now shit the bed. They're now 13th, but we're only 3 games into the season, so it's not. Dalton, I will come over there. Big trust. Everton are probably going to get relegated. Not even just based off the first 3 games. They should have got relegated last year. Whatever. Rest in peace, Leeds United. Yeah, Man United's 8th. They fall from grace. And then Arsenal is 5th, though they could be 4th, 3rd, 2nd. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Let's go to the MLS real quick, because Lionel Messi. We haven't had a podcast since Lionel Messi won the League Cup. But
that's true.
Inter Miami won the League Cup. So
if there was any doubt, that was like, and granted, he had help come over.
Yes.
But
he had Jordi Alba and he had Busquets.
Pretty much like the worst team into winning that tournament. Not on his own, but without him, they wouldn't have. No,
they wouldn't have come close. Though what I did like what he did is he handed the old captain the captain's band, and he lifted up he made sure the old captain lifted up the trophy with him, which I think is really cool. For the old captain, it just shows a little bit of respect. Inter Miami are still far and below the. Well, I'm not gonna say the worst team in the MLS.
There's time.
There's time for them. There's sort of time for them to build up. They have 22 points. They've played 2 or 3 less games than other teams, depending on what team you're looking at. Definitely could reach back up there. Dalton, you said the New York FC. Yeah, they're.
I said that
was Jack. Oh yeah, they're 13th.
Not good.
They're really not good. What do you mean they're winning games? They won one.
They finally won tonight. After losing everything in the past month.
They made it. Here's the thing, though. They made it to round of 32 in the Leagues Cup. That's something. They made it out of the group stage.
They beat Toronto.
Yeah, buddy.
Ooh, beating Toronto. Ooh.
Atlanta United will rise again. Well, they're 6th, so. And they are.
They've got a chance. They're not Cincinnati, but they're not terribly out of it.
Yeah, they're 16 points behind. They beat Nashville 4-0. They lost to Cincinnati 2-1. So, wait, there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, how many fucking games are in this thing? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so Miami has to play 12 games. If they win and draw half of them, 12. So 6 times 3 is 18, plus 6 is 24. So they could potentially make it up to 46 points, and that would put them, if we were talking right now, in 2nd. You know what? It'll be a miracle if Messi can get them out of the goal differential. They're negative 12 right now. We'll see if he can get them out of it. If he gets them out of the goal differential, it's a fucking win. It doesn't matter if they make anything.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's about it.
I think those are all the sports that exist. No one cares about college football, especially not at the Louisiana State University.
To be honest, I'm not gonna go over basketball season. No. We actually, I don't think we've reached. We haven't reached anything specific for that. We could talk about cricket.
I know very little about cricket, although I keep meaning to get into it. I've got some videos on cricket bookmarked because I've got some people here that I have tried to play cricket with a few times.
Are you like dead ass 100% serious, or are you like fuck with me? Okay, you're serious. I said that as a joke. You took it serious. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm dead ass. Cricket is probably cool. I just don't know enough about it.
Wait, is that the game that they actually have the crickets play on like Google Games or whatever?
I have no idea.
I'll send you the link, Jack. I'll send you the link of the game. I'll send you the game.
In the meantime, or not. Any final thoughts? I see you with your Altoona Pizzas hat, and I promise you I'm wearing my matching one.
I got my Altoona Pizza hat.
Plugged in at the moment.
I have my Jimmy G Niner jersey. I have a Brock Purdy jersey coming in soon. So.
Oh, sick. DH gate again?
Hell yeah. My mom also got one as well. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. She's like, how much does it cost? I'm like, $20-something. She's like, oh, good. Because, like, jerseys are like $100 or something.
I ain't paying $140 or something for a jersey.
I used to do that. No longer will I do that. So.
Yeah, well, that's why I've only ever owned like 2 jerseys in my life before.
See, I did get. Hold on, I'll show you the one that I actually. I got this one for like $30. This one.
Is that the Willis?
The Pro Bowl. I got this for like $30 when I was like in middle school, and this is still by far my favorite jersey. It is such a oh my god! It's like it's one. I also have a I don't know if I've showed this on camera or on the stream.
You got the Bolden Ravens jersey.
I have a Bolden Ravens jersey, an Anquan Bolden Ravens jersey, because it's Anquan Bolden, man. I love that man. Unless he's done something bad that I haven't known about, and then I don't. But if he's...
Speaking of bad things...
The Cowboys. No, I'm kidding. Alrighty.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
Fuck the Cowboys. Any thoughts, Jack?
Fuck the Cowboys.
Alright, peace out, everyone.
With a capital